Margaret was right.
Stop it, Alice.
What if this place is dangerous?
What is wrong? I'm part of something important, Alice.
Hello, my name is Pavel and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be making a video about a movie that has been out for like a year. Everybody has seen it. Everybody has made videos about it. And I'm here like, hey, I'm finally going to make a video about Don't Worry, Darling. I'm sorry. I thought it'd be funny if I tried a British accent, but that... Anyway, let's just forget about that awful accent. Today, as I've just mentioned, I'm going to be watching Don't Worry, Darling. The reason I'm going to be watching this movie is because I'm quite intrigued. Everybody has been like, this movie sucks, and I'm really curious as to why. Because whenever the trailer for this movie came out, like, I don't even know, maybe like a year and a half ago. My concept of time is not great if you have not noticed. Whenever this trailer came out, I watched it and I was like, oh, this looks like really good. And then I went into college and people were like, yeah, that was the worst movie ever. I'm not going to tell you what the spoiler is, blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. And I have picked up a little bits along the way. It seems like a movie that's like kind of like Truman Show-esque. I don't know what I'm talking about because I've never seen this movie. But anyway, I'm quite intrigued to watch it. For that reason, it just seems fun. Everybody says it sucks, and maybe, knowing me, I could actually like this movie, and then everybody's gonna, you know, like hate me online or something along those lines. Great. And you know, I've seen all the like awful jokes being made about this movie as well with the title in people's like YouTube videos, like, should I be worried, darling? Or maybe I should make like the title for this video super corny, like, darling, should I be worried for this movie? Darling, I'm really worried about your acting, in brackets like Harry Styles or something like horrific like that. Anyway, I'm just excited to watch this movie, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. The things that I've heard about this movie are, as I've mentioned, it's kind of like Truman Show in a way, but probably a lot worse. I've heard a lot of shit talk about Harry's acting, and you know what? I don't mind Harry Styles, but I just cannot imagine in my head that he's like a good actor. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong and he's like really good at acting in this movie, but who knows? I guess we're going to see whenever I actually watch the movie. But that's what I've heard, that his acting is really bad, that the storyline is really corny. And I know, I actually completely forgot about this, that there's like drama going on in like behind the scenes of this movie. Harry was going out with someone and someone blah, blah, blah. I don't really know the gossip there, but I know it's a thing and I know there was tension in it, and I do not know if that has impacted the movie in any way. But I guess we're going to be seeing. The cast looks interesting. The trailer seemed really interesting. The poster looks kind of cool. So maybe this movie won't be as bad as I think. Maybe. I guess the thing is, I already have like an opinion about this movie in my head, which I don't like, because everybody has been like, oh, this movie is like kind of made, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to have that opinion. I don't want other people's opinions to impact my own. So I'm going to like wipe it clean. And I'm just going to go into it open-minded, and I'll tell you what I think. And my expectations for this movie are, I have none. Maybe Harry's acting will be bad. Maybe it's going to be like one of those movies that is like, we live in a society like Joker type thing. That was also really cringy, I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't know. But maybe this movie is going to be like a lot more deep than it really is. And that Harry's acting isn't going to be great. But I think that's all I can expect from this movie. I don't know. I haven't watched a trailer since it came out, and I'm just excited. I hope it's gonna be like, if it's bad, I hope it's a good bad, and if it's just like a very like 5 out of 10 movie and nothing really happens, then I'm gonna be disappointed. I just hope it's entertaining. I think entertaining is the right word that I'm looking for. I think that's everything. I'm gonna go watch the movie, and I'll tell you what I think after.
I'm sorry. I still don't understand how she's okay.
You wouldn't want me discussing the details of your treatment with my other patients now, would you?
I wouldn't mind. I would really love to know the details of how you fixed her.
Okay, hello. I have finished watching Don't Worry, Darling, and before I read you the synopsis, I just wanted to say that was not the worst. Was it good? Was it a bit messy? Like quite messy and all over the place? Yes, it definitely was. But it was fine. I completely forgot that Olivia Wilde directed this, and she directed Booksmart. And if you have not watched Booksmart, then watch Booksmart and then just form your opinion on her ability to direct a movie, because Booksmart is absolutely incredible, whereas Don't Worry, Darling is not that good. Okay, it's not that it's not good. It just feels a little bit bland, not visually, just within the story, and it also feels a little bit boring quite a lot throughout the story. But anyway, let me read you the synopsis for Don't Worry, Darling, and I'll give you my opinions, I'll give you my thoughts, and I'll just review it for you. Deal? A 1950s housewife living with her husband in the utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company could be hiding disturbing secrets. And as a description for the movie, that sounds really, really good. And I'm going to start off with the positives of this movie. This movie looks really good visually. The just a set, the aesthetics of the movie, the cars, just everything look really, really good. And wherever you're watching the movie, you can probably see things throughout this town called Victory that looks really, really good. And that's a massive pro. And another major factor of this movie that kind of like gives me so much hope for this movie whenever I was watching it, what made me really like enticed in this movie is Florence Pugh. She is absolutely incredible. She carried this movie, let me tell you. She is phenomenal, and I feel like if anybody else took her part, this movie just would have been even worse than it was. And same with Chris Pine. Chris Pine played this kind of like dictator, kind of like the face for this utopian town, and he played it really well, even though his character comes across as annoying and like really like alpha giga chad generic man. That's what he's meant to do, and I absolutely loved it. But one character, you could probably guess who this is going to be. One character in this movie that was just not very good at all, and it was really corny and really cringy, and it made me go like multiple times throughout this movie, and that is big old Harry Styles. Holy shit, please. I feel bad saying it because I feel like I want to give him chances in movies, and obviously it doesn't matter what I think, but I just feel like he's really, really cringy. There's so many scenes where he's trying to be either like really, I don't know, deep or something, and the way he delivers his lines and his acting is all over the top, and it's just really cringy and really corny, and acting is bad. And I didn't even realize what accent he was meant to have until it was addressed a little bit later on in the movie. And you know, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Harry Styles' acting. I love his music, I like it, but the acting, maybe he's better in Dunkirk, but maybe that's because there was less lines in Dunkirk. That's probably really mean. But anyway, this movie, it started off strong. I was hooked straight away. I was like, the music, the vibes of the movie, the chemistry. I was like, ooh, what's going to happen? And there's this like mystery set up, and you're like, ooh, I wonder what's going to be happening. What is this mystery? What are these men up to? And 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, I think I know what this is about. And you spend the rest of the 2 hours of this movie being like, we know what this is about. And it tries kind of like to push forward this mystery. What the fuck was that? What was that accent? Throughout this entire movie, they try to push forward this mystery. And it's everybody in the audience, I feel like, is watching this like, yes, I understand what's happening here. And I'm not going to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, but you can probably figure out what is kind of like happening throughout the movie. And I feel like this movie tries really hard with visual metaphors and just general metaphors to be really deep. Like, I feel like this movie is trying to communicate like a message, and it's trying to be really, really, really deep. Although all of its kind of like meaning that it's trying to suggest through its symbolism is very on the nose. And look, I respect the fact that this is like a feminist movie, and it's really trying to showcase towards the audience that men really have ruled society from back in the day, and probably will for a really long time, and it's really fucked up, and I respect that. But I feel like the way it does it in this movie is so on the nose, and I feel like it's trying to be kind of like almost dangerous. It's kind of trying to step out of the comfort zone and kind of like stand against the status quo, which is like what literally happens throughout this movie, but it doesn't. And I watched Karsten Rundquist's video about this movie, and he says that this town looks appealing, and I feel like the entire point of this movie is that this is not meant to be appealing. And if that's the message that comes across at the end of the movie, then that's not good. That's not good. And I feel like what this movie is trying to do just doesn't feel new. And very quickly, these visual metaphors, people dancing in circles and like mirrors and all this, it gets very corny, it gets very repetitive. And I feel like although this movie is trying to be a mystery, I feel like the audience very quickly figures out what this quote-unquote mystery is, but this movie still pushes it forward. And even in the end, I'm not going to spoil, again, I promise I'm not going to spoil it, but even in the end, you're kind of like, this is so unsatisfying. Like the ending, like the last 20 minutes of this movie are like, I don't know, I just feel like this movie had so much potential to uncover its subject matter even more, to kind of break it down, to showcase this character going absolutely nuts, but they don't. It it feels like this movie just plays it safe. It comes across as boring. Even though this mystery is unraveled at the end, just doesn't feel really satisfying. It feels like you just want more. Another point, this movie is 2 hours long, and I feel like there's scenes throughout this movie that just do not need to be there. I feel like this movie does not need to be 2 hours long, because there are things in this movie that just feel really, really long. Like this, Harry is dancing, and it kind of showcases that, you know, like he has the power, even though his dancing is kind of like shitty. But then we have like the, you know, choreographed dancing by the women, and that showcases that they all have to be the same and in line and follow orders, whereas the men kind of like rule and take over, and they can do whatever they want. Another thing that I really liked about this movie, this is a minor spoiler, so maybe skip like 30 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear this. But there's a scene of Harry Styles dressed as like a pure gamer, like a 4chan Reddit user, and it's really funny seeing him like really long greasy hair, looking like really raggedy, and it's funny. And whenever the mystery is unraveled, it's kind of cool to see him kind of not look like Harry Styles, if that makes any sense. But overall, I just feel like this is a difficult movie to talk about, because it's not bad. Like, if you just want a movie to literally sit back like this and just watch a movie and just chill, this is probably a good movie. This is the type of movie that I would put on if I just wanted to kind of switch off and maybe look at my phone a few times throughout the movie and just not think. This is, even though this movie is trying to make you think, which is like, that's what I mean. Like, this movie is trying to make you think, but this is the type of movie that you would put on when you don't want to think, because it's so straightforward. It makes perfect, you know, that's kind of like my messy opinion of Don't Worry Darling. It's fine. If you want to go watch like a 6 out of 10 movie, go watch it. I'm glad I've watched it. I kind of understand what people meant now. I'm part of that club. That's just my opinion. Obviously, if you like Don't Worry Darling, that's perfectly fine. If you hate it, that's perfectly fine. I think I'm in the middle. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Will I rewatch it? Probably not, but it was fine. It was just absolutely fine. Have you seen Don't Worry Darling? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you just find it meh? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.